Tuomas, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. First, can we start with just breaking down, I guess, your new look coaching staff a little bit? Can you kind of elaborate on your coaching staff now and kind of what their roles will be in assisting you this season?
Yeah, so we had some changes in the coaching staff. Ryan Saunders is our lead assistant. He will be doing very much the same that he's been doing the last 3 years successfully in Denver, which is overseeing a lot of the defensive stuff. I was really impressed with his basketball knowledge throughout our interview process, and also on a human level we connected very well, and I'm very happy to work with him. Then Jason March, he will be, just like last year, helping me with the offensive side. We'll also have some player development responsibilities. He also is a very important link between us and the Hustle, having been the Hustle head coach and having been also a long time in the NBA, a big asset in that way. Darnell Lazar, somebody who has been an assistant coach in the league but also was a professional player before this, brings a vast experience as a player and especially as a big guy. And that's something we wanted in the staff, someone specifically also to help our bigs develop, and Darnell will be responsible for that, and he'll also be helping out Ryan with the defense. Then Eric Schmidt is the head of player development. A lot of you know Eric. He has a very sunny disposition, brings a lot of energy, but he's also very organized, very smart. And then we have Penny Collins, who came from Tennessee State, head coaching experience, was a player himself, somebody that has a very unique background, and that's overall what we were looking for, a very aligned staff, but that has different perspectives on things.
Tuomas, you noted at the end of the season that the situation you stepped into as interim head coach did not allow a lot of time, literally a lot of time, to change much. Now that you're starting your first training camp as NBA head coach, how would you describe the style of play you want to pursue, and how is that going to be different, or how might it look different from what people saw at the end of last season?
Yeah, I've always prided on that our teams have had a very strong identity, and those things really haven't changed. It's still going to be fast-paced, very well organized, and very, very high levels of effort. Those are three things that will never go out of style. It's easier to score against a defense that's not set, but when you're in the half court, or whether defensively or offensively, you must be very well organized, whether it is playoffs or regular season, and outcompeting opponents. It has been always one of the hallmarks, and those are things that I believe in, and those are the things that also make up our identity.
How has this summer gone in terms of getting together with Ja and Jaren in particular, and what have you learned, I guess, this summer about sort of the way that they operate and how you can get the most out of them?
I mean, it's been a great summer with everybody. Those two also, we've had a lot of discussions on just how to bring the best out of the whole team, and that obviously relates to, there are several layers in it. There's the personnel, what type of personnel groupings do we want to have, what type of, conceptually, what type of basketball do we want to be known for, and then the methodology, the how do we get there through practice. And I've taken a very, both of those guys are very intelligent. They've been in the league for a long time. They have a yearning to get better and really take ownership of the team, and they've been great in just helping out, and we're trying to do this together, and that's the only way that I know how to be successful, that everybody's on the same page.
Can you kind of give us an update? We saw Zach in kind of up and down last year, and he's going to be delayed going into the start of the season. What do you see from him this year once he's able to get on the court?
Just continue his development. I mean, I said this over and over again last season, but the type of basketball that Zach was asked to play in college was very different from the pros, and he adjusted even within the season. He adjusted to multiple, different versions of himself, and I thought he did a great job, and generally bigs take longer to flourish, and he is already on a great growth trajectory. So really he just needs to keep doing the same things what he's been doing up until this point. He has great focus, he puts the team first, and he's looking to learn new things, and those are our expectations for every player, not just for him.
Coach, how much will not having Jaren, Brandon, Zach up front sort of alter or tweak what you need to see from this team in training camp, and what's the process like for preparing for them to get back, and how important it is for them to be locked in still, even if they're not able to participate?
Yeah, it's obviously a huge challenge for us. We're talking about our defensive anchors, and we have a few injuries, not so many, but they are at the big positions, and that means that we have taken let's say an approach where we're building a strong base where we can integrate then these key players when they come, and that wasn't an easy task, and we spent a lot of the preseason thinking about this because it's a very, very specific challenge. Yeah, that's it.
Coach, you obviously had a lot of success coaching overseas. What are the biggest differences between the basketball you coached as a head coach overseas and NBA basketball? What is most similar and what is most different in terms of coaching approach?
From the coaching process, I would say the absolutely biggest difference is, we used to have a 7-week training camp or preseason. You can install a lot of things. Of course, there's more turnover too. So we had a lot of successful seasons in Europe in different clubs, and that means those players were moving on to even bigger clubs or to the NBA, and that meant we had to rebuild it from the scratch. And now we're kind of starting over a new process with very little preparation time, and the same thing is true also in season. So you don't really get, 5 years ago I was coaching 1 game a week, and then a couple of years ago 2-3 games, and now it's 3-4 games. So all the time the time to prepare gets shorter and shorter, and I've just looked at it from like a personal skill development standpoint, that it's a situation where I can evolve, got to be more precise, got to be better in the feedback, and it's a very unique challenge to the NBA, and it's something that I spend a lot of time thinking about.
Time for a couple more. Tuomas here in the back. Specific question, but you talk about pace. I know you followed American basketball for a long time. For a while, the thought process was teams that played at that breakneck speed could score but didn't have enough defense to win championships or compete at that level. I'm wondering if maybe watching a team like the Pacers last year that played at that kind of speed all the way up to Game 7 of the NBA Finals maybe gave you some validity that this can work on both sides of the floor and a team can compete at that level while playing at that kind of pace.
There's a few different things about that. First of all, should be very specific about what metrics you're using. So if you use like a pace indicator, that can mean like if you offensive rebound, the possessions take longer, so there's less possessions, or stuff like this. If you're looking at like the 7 seconds or less Suns, I believe they were average defensively in the league, but because they played at a fast pace, they got scored on a lot, and people thought they're playing bad defense. So it's kind of a loaded question, but YouTube is full of videos. You can go check out how basketball was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020. Even a team that was criticized for that, the D'Antoni Suns, they would be playing at a very slow pace for today's standards. So even though Indiana is a great example of not only fast pace but quick decision making and very well organized offense and defense, I don't feel like it's been a secret that this works. And actually, I feel like in the 2030s, the game from today should look slow. So just because of the inherent structure of basketball, where you have the best chance of scoring when the other guy is not yet organized in their defense.
Last question, Jonah.
As you kind of approach training camp, do you want obviously in Europe, you kind of speed and intensity was kind of a hallmark of your teams. Do you want to approach training camp the same way? And also, is that murder ball drill going to come to practice?
What's that?
Murder ball.
I never heard about that. Yeah, speed and intensity, they are definitely cornerstones of how we want to play. I mean, it's not a secret, like, just as I was talking about basketball, you can take any team sport. I've been, for the first time in my life, watching last 2 weekends the Sunday night football, and the way I see it, the line of scrimmage, what type of misdirection is used and how many people are in motion, it's getting more and more complex, and the speed of the game and the decisions are really, really difficult. And we try to create big-time challenges for our players so that they're not meeting those for the first time in the games. They're meeting those in the practices, and speed is one of the components. The other one is intensity. That's the key to game-like practices, having very intense practices. But should not forget that the intensity and the speed must always be directed. So otherwise you're running around like headless chicken, if you don't have a plan. So it needs to be, maybe even more important than those are clear ideas. What is expected of everyone in those situations, and that you don't fall back on these umbrella terms like we got to play faster or we got to play harder. But what is the tangible thing that makes the team play harder? Conceptualize it, practice it, turn it into a habit, and then, express it during game day.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.